Shall we begin? Let's begin now. Let's begin now.
This is not a drill.
Repeat, this is not a drill.
Is that all you got?
Let's begin now.
What up? Oh, for sure.
Hi everyone, how are you all today? I hope you're all very, very well, and I hope I am live and I have done all this correctly, and I have. Hi everyone in the chat. Little Wraith, happy birthday to your wife. 29. Oh, to be that young. Hi everyone, I hope you're all well. I thought what I'll do is impress you all by wearing a shirt today, and this is my #1 fan's favourite shirt, so this is just for you. And I thought I'll impress you all by how tidy my hair is as well. There is an absolute ton of product to get it looking like this. It is so long, it is unreal, it is getting unmanageable. Honestly, it's getting to the stage where I think I might have to cut it myself. I don't know anybody in my family who cuts hair, and obviously nor do I want to. There's no hairdressers open, and obviously I don't want to go to a mobile one. So yeah, like many people, my hair's just wild right now. Hi Nikki, how are you doing? I hope you're safe and everything's well. Go bald, says Darren. I don't know, mate. I've gone bald before. Not a pretty sight. I think if I shaved it off, I'd just wear a cap. But then I left my favourite cap at a friend's place. I think if I had that cap, I probably would shave it off really quite short. But, you know, I'm in the same thing as everybody else. But yeah, I thought this is going to be probably one of the last times I can look presentable. So, but yeah, I would do. Uh-oh. I've got an infection in my central line at the moment, but okay apart from that, thanks, Titch, says Nikki. You stay safe, Nikki. You stay safe, and to the rest of you out there, look after your immune system so you can kick the virus and you don't pass it on to people like Nikki. Yeah, look after your immune system, as I said the other day. I better start with what I want to say today. Oh yeah, it is a super chat. This is, by the way. But listen, guys, don't feel obliged to send me any money, especially on super chat. I'm pretty much done with YouTube at this stage. They're not going to do anything to help me, are they? And it seems YouTube have a bit of a problem at the moment with free speech, and in just deleting all sorts of things that they, their corporate masters tell them to do. And I'm sure at some stage I'm going to be in the firing line, or something I say is going to be, outlawed, especially with regards to my stance on certain subjects like the alleged anti-Semitism row. Yeah, I'm pretty much done with YouTube. So yeah, I'd rather, if you are going to don't send me money, first of all, don't. But if you, because obviously in the middle of a crisis and you need it yourselves, but if you are flush and you do want to send me anything, then do so with either the PayPal below or Bitcoin. Use one of those two. I'm done with YouTube, honestly. Kim comes out later in the year, K.M by Kim.com. And I'll probably end up on something like that, I think, going forward. We'll see. Who knows what's going to happen in the next few months. It's all up in the air at the moment. We don't know whether anything's going to go back to normal. We shall see. I want to talk about the latest with the just debacle in the United Kingdom with regards to this Dominic Cummings fiasco. Dominic Cummings, of course, is the advisor, or most trusted advisor, I suppose, to Boris Johnson. And there's a massive story in the United Kingdom saying that he broke lockdown rules to drive 260 miles so he could self-isolate with his family closer to his parents, and everybody's freaking out about it. This is what they said happened, okay? It was a joint investigation by the Daily Mirror and the Guardian as to what happened on 31st, around the 31st of March. So I've gone to the Yorkshire. This is a YorkshireCoastRadio.com website. So yeah, fuck you, Guardian. I'm not going to you. They give a timeline of events here as to what happened, as to what actually happened with regards to this fiasco. It all comes down to around the 30th of March, around the weekend of the 28th, 9th of March. It's when Boris Johnson basically came down. He was diagnosed with COVID-19. Downing Street confirms he was self-isolating. Dominic Cummings was on the 30th of March, and they said that his wife wrote a column in The Spectator. Here it is. This is Dominic Cummings' wife, I think she's one of the editors of the Spectator. Said this at the time: my husband did rush home to look after me. He's an extremely kind man, whatever people assume to the contrary, but 24 hours later said, I feel worried and collapsed. I felt breathless, sometimes achy, but Dom couldn't get out of bed. He couldn't get out of bed, apparently. He couldn't get out of bed! Couldn't get out of bed, and then drove 260 miles. This is what she said in the Spectator. Said I feel worried and collapsed. I felt breathless, sometimes achy, but Dom couldn't get out of bed. Day in, day out, for 10 days, he lay doggo with a high fever and spasms that made the muscles lump and twitch in his legs. So this is what his wife wrote in The Spectator. And this, in it, right in The Spectator, she spoke of how her extremely kind husband struggled to breathe while at home in London. In his London home. Talked about coming out of lockdown in London. And they weren't there, apparently. According to the joint investigation by the Guardian and the Daily Mirror, Mr. Cummings travelled to his family's farm in Durham. That's 260 miles away. And it was on this date that Mr. Cummings' family were spoken to by the police. Right, okay. I really, really want to point this out right now. That is really, really misleading. And so far, every outlet and every journalistic outlet has reported it like this. They are giving the inference there. They're inferring that he was spoken to by the police about travelling 260 miles. That's not the case at all. They're jumping to conclusions, and that's our media. A spokesman for the Durham Constabulary said, on Tuesday, our officers were made aware of reports that an individual had travelled from London to Durham and was present at the address in the city. Officers made contact with the owners at the address who confirmed the individual in question was present and self-isolating in part of the house. Didn't say anything about them questioning him about his travel. This is the most trusted advisor to the Prime Minister of Great fucking Britain, of the United Kingdom, no less. Do you think his movements should be made aware, of the police fucking chief in that area? Do you think maybe, security would be a good idea back then? This is just ridiculous fucking journalism, this is. They should be ashamed of themselves. Anyway, they've all done this. The Mirror have. I'll explain in detail in a minute. In line with national policing guidance, officers explained to the family the arrangements around self-isolation guidelines and reiterated the appropriate advice around essential travel. Again, it's misleading. They didn't necessarily say, you shouldn't have done that 260-mile journey, but that's the inference that the newspapers are all giving. So that's apparently what it's all about. He drove 260 miles. It came out in the Guardian that he drove 260 miles to be close to his. The original thing that came out was the original statements was to say we needed to be near our grandparents because he was self-isolating. Remember, he was self-isolating. At no point have they said he got coronavirus here. No point have they said his wife had got coronavirus. Indeed, she wasn't showing symptoms at all. So they've driven 260 miles or whatever it is. We don't know whether he's actually positive at all here. Right, we don't know whether... We don't know. But they travelled up there to be with his parents because they've got a child and he's, I don't know, chief advisor to the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, and he might, looking after a child might be the thing that he doesn't need to be doing in that 2 weeks while he's self-isolating. Do you see my point? He'll need, the help of his family. I am sure that there are people up and down the country who have needed the help of their family. And here's the thing. If he'd have come out and said that and made that statement straight away, then all of this would have gone away. If they'd have come out and said, yeah, I broke lockdown rules, I drove 260 miles, I needed to be close to my family, blah, 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 blah. But they didn't. They lied. They lied. They said that it was within governmental guidelines, and that's not the case. Governmental guidelines at the time were, you need to self-isolate straight away. Straight away, if you're feeling it, all of your people in your family need to self-isolate. And this was from the March 18th. Oh, who is it? Beth Rigby. March 18th. Quote, I also need to remind parents that, as we have already advised, children should not be left with older grandparents or older relatives. So, everybody started saying, well, hold on a minute, you want to leave your kids with your grandparents? And then they said, no, the grandparents, we said grandparents sort of as an area, and really it was the sister. They're changing the goalpost, lying about it. Now they're lying about it to cover up, saying, no, we need to be with the sister. The fact of the matter is, this guy has, with his family, broken the rules. Why don't they just say, yeah, I hold my hands up, I did that, and this is why. I'm very sorry. If it had done that, honestly, this would have all gone away. But what have they done? They lied about it. They said, oh, we needed to be with near the grandparents. And then people went, well, hold on a minute, we were told not to leave our kids with older relatives or grandparents. Oh, no, I meant we need to be the family with the sister. And I self-isolated in the house. And oh, well, lo and behold, he's seen outside the house. It's lie after lie after lie after lie. Do you know why trust in our government is as low as it is right now and has been for the last few years? Do you know why trust in our government is so low? Because you're all a bunch of lying bastards. That's why. You're a bunch of lying bastards. Let me just turn this down a little bit. This is why we don't trust you. Because you lie, you get caught in a lie, and then you lie to cover up for that lie. And you know what? We're fucking sick of it. Stop lying. We understand it's a difficult time at the moment, and we also understand this. And I want to ask you. You know what? I'll come to this in a minute. But first of all, I want to ask this as well. I've said, do you know or no, you understand why trust in the government is so low? Because you're all a bunch of lying bastards. Do you know why trust in our media is so low right now? Do you know why? Because you're a bunch of lying bastards as well, who all you do is take the path of least resistance and try and get stories which get your paper clicks. To fucking hell with what's in the national interest. To fucking hell what's the morally right thing to do. No, you go for the low-hanging fucking fruit, the sensationalism. So what? This guy broke lockdown rules. How many of you in the chat right now, I'm looking at you in the chat, how many in the chat can hold their hands up and say, yeah, I broke lockdown rules too? I did. I broke them. My fiance lives in London. We were in lockdown for almost 7 months. Well, I'm not, for almost 7 weeks rather. I went down there. I travelled down there once. Now, I could give the excuse that I was an essential worker being a journalist, but I mean, you know, you could blag your way down there if you wanted to. It wouldn't be difficult to blag your way anywhere. But I broke lockdown rules. I did. Once I did. Who in the chat can say they didn't? They absolutely didn't. Who in the chat can say, you know what? I didn't take an unessential trip to the shops. I didn't go round to relatives. I didn't visit a friend's. I didn't drive to a beauty spot. So, when you think about it, all the media have done here, rather than go after what's really important and rather than do good journalism, they've just tried to do some fucking political point scoring instead. And this disgusts me. You disgust me, media. The Guardian, The Mirror. You fucking disgust me. Right now, you could be hammering away with investigations about, I don't know, the false flag in Duma. You could be launching massive investigations into the White Helmets and what the fuck they were up to, having their buildings right next to Al-Qaeda and Al-Nusra in Syria, working hand in glove with the terrorists. You could do an investigation into that. You could do an investigation into the Syrian Observatory of Human Rights and why it was that the entire media in the United Kingdom took the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights word as gospel, and it was printed in every story that they wrote about Syria where Assad was the bad guy, without actually pointing out the Syrian Observatory in Human Rights was just a fucking geezer in Coventry who was imprisoned 3 times in Syria. Yeah, he was a Syrian, imprisoned 3 times in Syria, was about to be imprisoned for a 4th for fraud. He fled Syria, came here to the United Kingdom, where he got £200,000 in a grant from the UK government. He's just a fucking guy in Coventry. He lives about 30 miles from me. How about an investigation as to why the entire media quoted him as the fucking voice of authority on every single gas attack that went off in Syria? How about that investigation, media? How about an investigation into, I don't know, how Bellingcat are the narrative fucking managers for the West? How about an investigation how the Atlantic Council are fucking infecting Facebook with their authoritarian fascist fucking regime? Yeah, I said it, fascist. That's what it is. Look who's on the board of that fucking thing, Kissinger, for Christ's sake. And you're holding up the Atlantic Council as the authority on what is right and what should be free speech and what not? Are you shitting me? How about an investigation into that, media? How about the investigation into, I don't know, DFR labs? How about an investigation into all the bollocks that you wrote about the anti-Semitism shit in Labour? How about an investigation into that? How about an investigation into how the corrupt fucking DNC rigged their own election again against Bernie Sanders? How about an investigation into, I don't know, why the fuck Jeffrey Epstein had so many politicians' number in his little black book before he was offed by America in plain view of everybody? How about an investigation into that? Observer, Mirror, Guardian. How about an investigation into Julian Assange and his fucking treatment? How about an investigation into Prince fucking Andrew and what he was up to on Jeffrey Epstein's plane and his island and his mansions? How about all of those investigations that you could be doing? You're not doing a single fucking one of them, are you? No. You're doing a political point scoring operation to grass somebody up for breaking lockdown. That's it. That's the height of fucking journalism in this country. Grassing somebody up for breaking lockdown. That's all you've done. That's it. That's the big news story right now. You grassing somebody up for breaking lockdown. And of course, this whole thing, this whole great investigation, scoop, they say on Twitter. Scoop, great journalism. All it's done is undermine the message that people need to stay the fuck at home if they can, and that this shit's serious. Congratulations, you complete and utter fucking imbeciles. Stop lying to us, government and media. Do your fucking job. Grassing people up for breaking lockdown is not doing your job. Snitches get stitches, baby. Look at this. This is the media. This is our media. This is what I mean, right? They're hounding this guy as he comes out of his flat here to get a picture. Look how close these motherfuckers are together. Are they 2 meters apart from each other here, right? Now, you know, I'm not Dominic Cummings. Let me just say this, right? I'm no fan of Dominic Cummings. I'm no fan of his at all. I think some of his views are abhorrent, and I totally disagree with him on some things. Totally. But at the same time, listen to what these people are saying. It's not a good look, is it? Breaking the rules. Whilst literally standing next to each other, the sweatiest, grubbiest, dirtiest motherfuckers in the country, the paparazzi, spreading their fucking germs everywhere, saying to him, it's not a good look, is it? Look.
Social distancing. Yeah. Move that way, pass through.
Can you really defend
You're supposed to be more than 2 meters apart.
Can you defend your
He's got to... I'm not his fan. I'm not on his side. He's a twat. But he's got a point here. This is tittle-tattling. That's all it fucking is.
Supposed to be more than 2 meters apart. Move out the way.
Can you really defend your actions, Mr. Cummings, during the lockdown? It's not a good look, Mr. Cummings, is it?
It's not a good look, is it? Look, there's 3 people there within fucking half a metre. 4, 5 people within half a metre of each other. And they're saying to him, it's not a good look, is it, you breaking these rules? Now the Mirror are saying that he broke them twice. This, it turns out, they're saying he's totally fucking untrue. I haven't looked into whether this second one, but they're saying it's untrue. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if it is untrue. Because let's remember, right? Let's remember, they originally said that the police had spoken to Cummings. And they were inferring that they spoke to him about this. That's not the case. This is the statement from Durham Police. On Tuesday, our officers were made aware that Dominic Cummings had travelled from London to Durham and was present at an address in the city. Now, why would they be made aware? Why would Durham Police be made aware that the most trusted advisor to the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom had arrived in his territory? I wonder why the Durham Police force would be made aware that the most trusted chief advisor to the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom had arrived in their constituency, their territory. I can't imagine why that would happen. It's fucking obvious it would happen. And it's fucking obvious that the police wouldn't give a shit about him driving 260 miles. I don't know whether you noticed, but we're in a bit of a pickle at the moment. At the request of Mr. Cummings' father, an officer made contact the following morning by telephone During that conversation, Mr. Cummings' father confirmed that his son had travelled with his family from London to the northeast and was self-isolating in part of the property. Durham Constabulary deemed that no further action was required. However, the officer did provide advice in relation to security issues. At no point did that officer speak to Cummings about this, as they are trying to infer. And that's how shitty our media are. That's how completely shitty. And as for the Mirror, this pile of shit, honestly. Look at what they said. This is, like I said, they were inferring that he was spoken to by the police. The Prime Minister's Chief of Staff was spotted by witnesses at his parents' home in Durham, more than 250 miles from his London property. Mr. Johnson and a string of senior ministers have repeatedly insisted the strict guidance is essential to slow the spread. I get it, all right? He broke the rules, I get it. Mr. Cummings started suffering from a bout of coronavirus at the end of March, which left him self-isolating with his wife, journalist Mary Whitefield, and son young son for 14 days. I don't think that's the case. I actually don't think it's been confirmed that he had coronavirus. I think he was showing the symptoms, so he said he was going to self-isolate. Boris Johnson obviously was coronavirus. I don't know about him. Downing Street claimed he was holed up in his London home, and afterwards his wife wrote about emerging from quarantine into the London lockdown. Okay, yeah, all of this I've said. But the joint investigation by the Mirror and the Guardian can reveal that Mr. Cummings was in fact in the north of England. The advice which became into law stated blah, 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 blah. All of this is correct. Police confirmed they had visited an individual at an address in the city who they had learned had travelled to Durham from London during the lockdown to self-isolate. They spoke to the family and reminded them that travelling to stay with relatives was in breach of the rules. That is complete bollocks. That line there is complete bollocks. It's a lie. I've just shown you the statement from Durham Police to say, yeah, that's untrue. And yet it's still up. No retraction, no apology, nothing. That's our British media doing what they do. The lowest hanging fucking fruit possible. Whatever's going to get the clicks, baby, to sell their shit. It's sick. It really is. Breaks cover to say he doesn't care how lockdown travel looks. It's all gotcha. It's all gotcha reporting. And this is pathetic. By the way, Labour calls for urgent inquiry into Dimmack Cummings' 260-mile lockdown trip. Of course they do. That's all Labour do. All Labour do is call for inquiries. And now they're saying he made their second lockdown trip, which they're denying. This is annoying, to say the least. Everybody is pissing me off with this story. Everybody. To the government, to the people who are running this country, stop fucking lying to us. Just stop lying. Stop it. And to the media of this country, do your fucking job, because if this is the height of investigative fucking journalism in this country, then everything I've been saying for the last 3 years is true. The fourth estate is fucking dead. You suck, media. You suck big, hairy donkey bollocks. You really do. Right, got that off my chest. Oh, okay. I want to something else that has happened as a result of this Dimmack Cummings lockdown fiasco scandal. All of the MPs came out in one voice to say, looking after your child is not against the rules. Obviously rallying around him. And, you know, some blue tick media people had some words to say about that. One of which was Victoria Derbyshire. And look how ridiculously weak our politicians are. Look how ridiculously weak they are. Dominic Raab blocked Victoria, Derbyshire. How much of a fucking snowflake are you, mate? You know? How weak do you have to be to block Victoria, Derbyshire? Who are you going to be blocking next? Mary Berry? You know, a load of people on Twitter were saying, oh, how this is terrible. It was terrible, this was. Show you. About how blocking journalists. Saying that it was blocking journalists is terrible. I don't really care about MPs blocking journalists. If I was an MP, I suppose there would be certain journalists that I would block, especially if they were mean to me and I had a thin skin like, well, but come on. Victoria, Derbyshire? Shame on you, Dominic. You're really weak. To quote your own words when you were speaking to Harry Dunn, or Harry Dunn's father, rather. Not on, Rob. Just not on. And how weak do you have to be to block Victoria, Derbyshire? MPs blocking constituencies worse. Yes, Nikki, that's way worse. Blocking just normal members of the public, that's no problem. But Victoria, Derbyshire, come on. You know, I totally understand blocking journalists because some of them really are shit. I mean, you know, if you've seen some of the crap that's written in places like Guido Fawkes and you know, I'd block them. I really would. I wouldn't block people like Owen Jones. Just to give, you know, he'd put it on his fucking bio, wouldn't he? Blocked by so and so. He's blocked me. That's how sad he is. Blocked me. I'm lovely. Why's Owen Jones blocked me? I'm completely lovely. Snowflake. I want to cross over to America, because when I started this channel, look at Mike. When I started this channel, I was very critical of a guy called Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks, soon to be known, as far as I was concerned, as the Young Katzenbergs. I did a video about him, and I thought he'd sold out for $20 million to the Katzenbergs because he's just reporting on certain things, went to dog shit afterwards, and he was all anti-Trump and pro-DNC, and that video went viral and sort of launched my channel. And then pretty soon afterwards, after that happened, he had a debate with Kyle Kalinske where Kyle Kalinske destroyed him on Russiagate. If you go back and look at my videos, I think they were like the third and fourth videos I ever did. They got loads of views and sort of launched the channel. Well, Cenk Uygur, it seems, is a glutton for punishment. Okay? You've got to see this. Because if you followed my channel, you will see how I've been showing how the DNC is bloody awful, terrible, awful, disgusting, worse than the Republicans. Yes, I said it. Worse than the Republicans. But Cenk doesn't believe so. He believes that creepy Joe Biden, I'll show you some clips of him and how horrible he is and how he should not be anywhere near the presidency of the United States. But he says Joe Biden has 1,000 problems. I'll fight like hell to move him toward progressive positions. I'll almost certainly help to primary him in 2024. So what Cenk Uygur is saying here is we need to vote for Joe so then we can vote him out in 4 years. But then he says this, but not voting is still taking action. Okay, this is where he starts jumping through mental hoops. Not voting is still taking action. Really? Really? So if Joe Schmo in Atlanta, I don't know, sitting at home looking at this fiasco that is the fucking electoral system in America and looking at the whole thing, thinks to himself, you know what? Fuck this. I am not going out risking my life, risking getting fucking COVID-19 and dying just to put an X next to a box, next to the box of the guy that is going to fuck me over and do nothing for me. Fuck you. He says that sitting at home that day in your Y-fronts, eating popcorn and Doritos and watching cable TV and jerking off, he says that's still taking action. Okay, so right now, Joe Schmo's sitting at home in his Y-fronts, jerking off, when Cenk Uygur says he's still taking action because he should be out there and voting. Just not doing that, he's taking action. But then he says this, it doesn't make you morally superior to those who make hard choices. It might do the opposite. The opposite. The inference there, of course, is he's making the hard choice. That's the inference. That's what he's trying to imply there, is that I'm making the hard choice here. You're just, it's the easy choice. You're just copping out. That's the easy thing to do. That's what he's implying. It's insane, this is. Now, I said he's a glutton for punishment. This is going to get ripped apart. First of all, their elections are rigged. You know your elections are rigged, right? You know your elections are rigged. You're telling people that they've got to vote in a rigged election, otherwise they're morally inferior to you? Yes, that's exactly what he's saying. And I'm not the only one who fucking gotten onto it, because Carl Kalinske, who did tear Cenk Uygur apart in that Russiagate debate when I started my channel all those times years ago, said, wait, so I might be morally inferior for not picking one of the two corrupt war criminals. Am I reading this right? Got him. It's beautiful. There's no way Cenk can follow through with this, can he? Cenk has to reel himself back here, doesn't he? No. Yes. You are reading that right, he says. George Bush and Adolf Hitler are both war criminals. Are you saying that not voting for either in an election between the two is the morally correct position? By the way, yes, it fucking is. Why do you have to vote for a war criminal? Don't you see? That way of thinking, this lesser of two evil thinking, is exactly what got you into this fucking position in the first place. You're saying exactly the same things that you were in 2016. You haven't moved the dial at all. In fact, through all of your efforts, you've gone backwards. The progressive movement, you've actually moved it backwards rather than forwards. And he calls himself the home of progressives. He goes, I'll say what he says here in this tweet. Yes, you are reading that right. George Bush and Adolf Hitler were both war criminals. Are you saying that not voting for either in an election between the two is the morally correct position? Because it most definitely isn't. Come on the show and let's have a real discussion on it. Obviously, he wants Carl Kalinske to go on his show, and this is what it's all about. He just wants the viewing figures, probably, because again, Carl will probably say, yeah, okay, I'll come on and tear him a new one, and he won't care. Because it'll get clicks. This is who he's saying that you've got to get behind. This is a 7-second clip. I'm just going to play it on a loop. This is every day he makes another gaffe. Every single day.
I'm prepared to say that I have a record of over 40 years and that I'm going to beat Joe Biden. I'm prepared to say that I have a record of over 40 years and that I'm going to beat Joe Biden. I'm prepared to say that I have a record of over 40 years and that I'm going to beat Joe Biden. I'm prepared to say that I have a record of over 40 years.
Like I say, every day there's something new. Every single day. If you could just go to Biden gaffs, there's so many of them. Oh, where am I? Oh, that's a, no, I can't play that. Come on, give me, you bastard. Sorry, everybody. I did have it lined up. I did have all of his gaffs lined up. When I drop this video, I will drop the clip in. But for some reason, Twitter has jumped on me because it's done that. But this is a long line in gaffs by Joe Biden. Every single day there's a new one. The man is in cognitive decline, and voting for him, quite simply, a vote for the DNC is a vote for Hillary Clinton. Because that's who you're voting for. Basically who Hillary Clinton is. A vote for the DNC is Hillary Clinton. And right now, he's cheering them on. In fact, he's basically saying, listen, suck it up. Eat it. Put that cross next to... Eat it. Eat it. Vote blue. Eat it. Swallow it. That's what he's saying. Swallow it. That should be the DNC's campaign. But of course, you know, it's no wonder that he's got that attitude. He took 20 million from the Katzenbergs. You know, he took 20 million from the Democratic kingmaker, Jeffrey Katzenberg. And ever since he did that, his reporting on certain things went to dog shit. Primarily, WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, and the 2016 election, and Russiagate. Lockstep with the DNC all along. Took 20 million from the DNC kingmaker. Ever since then, lockstep with the DNC on Russiagate and all things WikiLeaks. Pro-DNC on pretty much everything. Despite the fact that they are raping their own support right now. He hasn't got a dog in house chance. Joe Biden hasn't. This is the latest thing. You've heard this. You ain't black. Hashtag you ain't black. That's what he said. What he said to the guy. You ain't black if you vote for Trump. You ain't black if you vote for Trump, he said. To a black man. And of course the Trump campaign is selling you ain't black shirts on their website. Imagine another 6 months of this. We're only in May. The election's apparently going to be in November. Imagine another 6 months. This is going to be a disaster for the DNC. And anybody who's cheerleading them on right now is going to really... They're going to be left with massive amounts of egg on their face. A vote for the DNC and a vote for Joe Biden is not the lesser of two evils. Honestly, I don't think either is a lesser evil than the other. That's how screwed I think they are in America when it comes to democracy. Got to talk about this, man. This fucking story. This story is going to make you say, what? Man makes money buying his own pizza on DoorDash app. This is in the BBC. Man makes money buying his own pizza on DoorDash app. So DoorDash, I'll show you their website. Here's the website. It's one of those, I don't know, it's like Just Eat, I think is one of those. justeat.co.uk is over here. I think it's like one of those apps that sort of like, you know, doesn't sell food itself. It just it charges firms to be on their app. That's basically what they do. So a man makes some money buying his own pizza. This is an incredible story. This. The BBC don't do it justice, so I'm going to. It says this: the owner of a pizza restaurant in the United States has discovered the DoorDash delivery app has been selling his food cheaper than he does, while still paying him full price for orders. Make sense? No, it doesn't to me either. We didn't. The pizza for which he charged $24 was being advertised for $16 on DoorDash. And when he secretly ordered it himself, the app paid his restaurant $24 whilst charging him $16 and then delivered his pizza to him for a loss of $8. He had asked, though, not to be put on the app. He wasn't actually on the app. Somebody was using the app as him on the sly. But then why would they do that? Think about it. He later found out it was part of a trial to gauge customer demand. Okay, all right. Let's read a little bit more into this. Content strategist Ranjan Roy blogged about the anonymous restaurateur, who is his friend. He later named his business, which the outlets in Manhattan and Topeka. So basically what happened was, he found out, he started having, this restaurateur did, complaints about his deliveries being cold, which was really weird because his restaurant didn't do deliveries. So he found out that they were delivering through this app called DoorDash. They found, and he started ordering pizzas. And I read that guy's blog. Let's just go over to it. I think it links through to the BBC website. I read his blog. It's on Medium, and he talks about how he ordered like 10 pizzas. It wasn't one pizza; it was 10 pizzas. He ordered them for $160, and DoorDash paid his friend's company $240. So he's making money twice on his own pizzas. Mr. Roy said that he first heard about the situation in March 2019 when his friends started receiving complaints about deliveries, as I said. So he ordered 10 pizzas. This is where blah, 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 blah. Just want to come down to the bottom here. The next time, the restaurant prepared his friend's order by boxing up a pizza base without any toppings, maximising the profit from a mix-match prices. So they placed an order for 10 pizzas. The DoorDash people placed an order with his restaurant for 10 pizzas at $160, immediately making him an extra $80. And then he didn't put any toppings on it. They didn't check. Delivered him his own pizza without any toppings on. So he's maximising his profit here. And it's like, but why are they doing it? Well, perhaps you'll figure out what I did. Said this: I was genuinely curious to see if DoorDash would catch on, but they didn't. DoorDash did not respond to the BBC News' web request for comment. I bet they didn't. But Mr. Roy said, we found out afterward that was all the result of a demand test by DoorDash. Okay, they're saying it's a demand test. Right, all right, doesn't sound fishy at all. Until you read on. At the bottom here. DoorDash is backed by investment giant SoftBank, which this week posted a record-breaking loss of nearly $13 billion. $13,000 million. Defending the loss, Chief Executive Masayoshi Son reportedly compared himself to Jesus. The billionaire is said to have stated during a call with investors that Jesus, quote, was also misunderstood. He later apologized. You figured it out yet? I've seen this. I've seen this in gangster films. Here it is. Remember this scene?
Also, Paulie could do anything, especially run up bills on the joint's credit. And why not? Nobody's gonna pay for it anyway. And as soon as the deliveries are made in the front door, you move the stuff out the back and sell it at a discount. You take a $200 case of booze and you sell it for $100. Doesn't matter, it's all profit. And then finally, when there's nothing left,
Fucking shame.
When you can't borrow another buck from the bank or buy another case of booze, you bust the joint out. You light a match. Reaching anything?
SoftBank, from the New York Times, is in crisis amid record losses. This is just the other day, a few days ago. Its flagship tech fund is underwater. Annual losses are huge. And a key board member has departed. You know which board member departed? I think he's the richest man on the planet, or one of them. Mr. Sun gave his financial presentation just hours after SoftBank announced that Mr. Ma, a co-founder of the Chinese e-commerce giant Alibaba, had resigned from its board. It really is not surprising when that sort of shit is happening with, you know, companies that they are investing in heavily. You know, this is just a rapacious oligarchy. Just when I say the United States isn't the world's police like they claim they are, actually what they are is the global mafia. Stories like this, you know, go a long way to proving what I say to be true, don't they? Incredible, it really is. How the fuck can they? Nobody's going to go to jail with it. You know what? Nobody's going to go to jail for that. Nobody. They're not going to find out who is getting away with all that. They're not going to find out. And that must be going on. Oh, $1 trillion a day they're putting into the banks. $1 trillion a day. It's free money, man. Global mafia. They are the mafia. Fuck me, when they torch the place, it's going to be wow. I still don't understand the racket, says Fry Canning. Well, I can't really say it any plainer than that. All right. I want to end on this, everybody. I mentioned this the other day. I mentioned that I was starting to get myself fit, and this is something that I've been trying to do, and something that I'm trying to get people to do more and more over the next, you know, if you have been sitting on the couch or not taking care of your body like I have, yeah. My advice to you is get out there and just try and exercise and try and get fit and look after your immune system. I want to leave you with this photo. This is me. I think 2 weeks ago, maybe 10 days ago. That's what I looked like after running my first 5,000 meters since Margaret Thatcher was in power. I was done in after that. But I want you to know something. 2 weeks later, I run 5K the other day and it didn't bother me at all. And that's how quickly your body can respond to you if you start looking after it. I don't want to go on about this, but I just want to say, you know what? It's important, guys. Look after your health. You know, people like Nikki in the chat, she's vulnerable and we need to look after ourselves so we don't hurt people like her. You understand what I mean? So please, you know, start exercising if you have. Let yourself go like I had. And start looking after yourself and start eating better. Try and cut down on your meat consumption. Try and increase your vegetable intake. And you'll start feeling great. Honestly, I do feel wonderful. And I feel so lucky as well that I get to do this because of you, and of that I'm really, really thankful for. And that is it for this stream, everybody. That's about an hour of me. That's enough. That's all you need. Thank you very much to everybody who supports the channel. I realise that this is not the time for anybody to be sending money that they can't afford. If you can, obviously all the links are down there. But honestly, you know, save your money unless you're really flush. Until next time, I shall, I shall be trying to set up interviews tomorrow. That's what I'm going to be doing. And yeah, hopefully you'll see more of me and more great people and great ideas and great conversations going forward in the coming week. Thanks very much for your support, everybody. And until next time, take care. Please stay healthy. Look after your body. Eat right. Stay indoors if you can. Don't listen to anybody saying we've got to get back and we've got to get the economy back on track. No, we fucking haven't. That thing has been fucking you all of your lives. You do not owe it a goddamn thing. Stay safe, everybody, and look after yourselves. And yeah, I'll see you soon. Yeah.